Hi everyone, welcome to my very first bullet journal video. So this is my bullet journal. It's just a very simple graphing notebook from Office Depot. I used to have a fancy Moleskine like a lot of people do, but for me it was just too burdensome, and this feels much more casual and friendly. So I started my bullet journal in around June of 2017, and these are some of the first few spreads. I had the classic future log, index, daily spreads. I stopped using my bullet journal after a few months though, and I picked it up again last July, I believe. And here you can see the highlighted portion is where I started again. So after I picked up my bullet journal again, I started incorporating big rocks of the week and tasks of secondary importance, both of which are adopted from the book 7 Habits for Highly Effective Teens by Stephen Covey. I also started using collections to list out my to-dos during a particular break or weekend, which I find very helpful still. So here are the pages I used for November and December. Kept it fairly simple, but I knew I wanted to change it up in the new year. And coming up is just a random page where I tried to practice hand lettering but failed. Anyways, so in January I started actually doing a monthly spread, and essentially what I used it for was to plan out studying for tests because I wanted to do it at least a week in advance. In blue, that's all my studying for a Spanish test. The green is for bio, the pink is for government, and the orange is for statistics. I also incorporated a goals column on the side and a tasks column. I also wrote in monthly events that I would have to take steps to work towards, for example, clarinet lessons and how I was going to practice for them. And here I wrote down all my New Year's resolutions because I wanted a visual place where I could refer back to them often. I also have a meditation tally log and a journal tally log, which I didn't really keep up with, and I think I will change this month. Finally, I made these boxes for my balance log. I got the idea from my favorite YouTuber, Yusu. Each row is supposed to represent a role in my life that is important to me, for example, relationships, creator, mindset and growth, student and musician, because this year I really want to focus on balancing my life instead of only focusing on being a musician and student like I've done for so many years. So here's my first weekly spread. I started incorporating this box thing in order to plan out step-by-step goals that would take the entire week because I didn't want to let myself down by not doing what I said I would, and I wanted something very visual to plan it all out. But I don't think it really worked because, for example, the first one I planned out my practicing for that week, but I would get thrown off on one day and then everything would kind of fall apart. So here's my creator log. I did this because I wanted to be accountable about publishing and filming videos regularly. Practice log, I'm going to be writing down what song I worked on what day and if I did metronome work, recording, listening. And for bullet journaling, I use my favorite Pentel Energel in 0.3 millimeters, this clear ruler from Morning Glory, and my Muji mild liner. So first I'm going back to my January spread and counting out how many boxes each box was made up of, and it was 7 by 7, which I think worked out quite well last month. And then to plan out the gridding, I'm counting out the boxes and putting little dots. Okay, fast forward. Once I'm done with that, I just write in the days of the week and the numbers, obviously. And then I just go over everything in my Muji highlighter. I try not to stress about, making everything perfectly neat and nice because I'm just not that kind of person, and I think bullet journals don't have to be perfect. They can be practical. So now I'm using my Staedtler Tri-Plus Fine Liner to write it in February. I actually had to go back and look at my calendar to see how to spell February, but anyways, I don't know how to hand letters, so I just write it with that felt pen and then go over it with the thin side of the zebra mild liner. And yeah, I think it looks pretty acceptable and pretty uniform. And now I'm failing to do that little line at the top, but I fixed it, as you can see, and I also highlighted goals and tasks on the right side. Now I'm just pulling out my school planner to see what upcoming tests I have. I really don't make any effort to make my school planner look nice. I purely use it to write down due dates for homework and tests. And I made a mistake with what topic the bio exam was, so I just whited it out. which I know some people want their bullet journal to look uber perfect, but I'm okay with some whiteout. Now I'm using my Muji highlighters to highlight the gov test and bio test days, and I'm also writing in the different events I have going on this month. For example, orchestra concerts, orchestra rehearsals, etc.
Right now, and I be thinking about my life right now. I be thinking about my life.
And I made another mistake about when the basketball game was for band, so more whiteout, yay.
Right now. I be thinking about my life right now, and I be thinking about my life right now. Yeah.
Okay, now I'm planning out my test studying. I don't do the entire week of test studying in one go since things might change along the way. I just did a few days for bio, like I wrote when the vocab quiz was going to be, when I was going to study vocab, when I was going to read the first 2 sections and the second 2 sections, and when I was going to finish worksheets. Later on, I'm going to add the day for when I'm going to quote-unquote teach different sections and for mind mapping.
Yeah. If it comes to nothing less than your blessings.
Gov, I wrote out a few tasks I was going to complete over a span of 4 days without really delegating what I was going to do each day, because I'm just going to go with what I feel like. This includes, once again, reading, mind mapping, notes, and quote-unquote teaching, which is where I try not to look at the notes and pretend I'm teaching them to someone in my own head or sometimes muttering aloud. And here I'm finally filling in my monthly goals. So when I'm writing goals, I really try to make sure there's 1 or 2 for every category I showed in the balance log. Goals for this month are reduce veg time and wake up at 5 a.m. daily, which would fall into the mindset and growth category, establish a routine for filming and editing videos, and catapult, quote unquote, I don't know if that's the right word, my Instagram, which would fall into creator, and also meet with my friend Ria every week, which would fall into relationships. I didn't really have musician or student, but I kind of know that I'm going to focus on my concerts this month and just studying for tests like usual. And here I'm beginning my weekly spread by writing in the page numbers, and I'm writing week of January 28th to February 3rd at the top. As a student this week, I have 2 major assignments, a reading and listening report in Spanish and an essay in English. As a musician, I'm going to start a new repertoire, Brahms, and reestablish a consistent practice routine. I call my grandparents, and I'm going to create a literary magazine submission plan for relationships and creator. I moved the task of moving pictures from my monthly spread to my weekly tasks, and I also put in menial things like texting people or paying tuition. Thank you so much for watching my very first bullet journal video. If this helped you in some way or gave you some ideas, please like the video or leave me a comment, and subscribe and check out my other videos.
And I be thinking about my life right now. I be thinking about my life right now. And I be thinking about my life right now. I be thinking about my life.